Hello, welcome to New Filmmaker LA in partnership with Movie Maker Magazine. I'm Nick Novicki, the founder and director of the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. It's a film competition that helps give people with disabilities opportunities both in front of and behind the camera. And in turn, we change the way the world views disabilities. Now, I'm so excited that we have with us here, all the way from the Netherlands, Veerle Ackerstaff from Lights Out and Away We Go. We're going to talk to her in a minute, but first let's see a clip from her film.
He's a typical teenager. He's in his room a lot, and he's very fond of his computer, and he's very smart. He's able to do a lot of things. He doesn't really have a lot of friends, and I would really like him to show himself a little bit more. Yeah, maybe it's because of his cerebral palsy. I think it's a very good idea for him to show himself a bit more to the world. Huh? He's worth it.
Boom! Veerle, how's it going? It's so great to see you. And you're calling from the Netherlands, right?
Yes, calling in from Amsterdam, and I'm great. I'm so happy and honored actually to be here. So awesome.
Well, thank you. For those that haven't seen the movie yet, can you give us a brief, for those of you that haven't seen the movie yet, Veerle, can you give us a brief description of the film?
Yeah, sure. Lights Out and Away We Go is a short mockumentary which we just made, in a couple of days, basically for the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. And it's about this teenage boy who is really introverted and really wants to spend time on his own, look at the stars, and have this peaceful experience. But his mother, she wants him to be happy, but instead of talking to him and asking him what he needs, she kind of imposes her own sense of happiness on him. So actually, killing him with kindness. We had this saying throughout our whole production is like the way to hell is paved with good intentions. So people always have a lot of good intentions, but instead of actually asking someone what they need, they kind of fill that in for them. So that's what the film is about.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, it's such a great film, and we love that it has that international lens on disability. And I think that that's really important because, as I said, in my intro, the film challenge is really about also changing the way people see disability around the world. And so to have a film made from the Netherlands and have you as a finalist this year and screening at New Filmmaker LA, I mean, it's really an exciting feat for the film challenge, and I think really broader for the whole disability community. So I can't thank you enough for your support and your talent. Can you talk a little bit about the inspiration of your film and how it came about? Now, I know with the film challenge, we gave a prompt, which it had to be a mockumentary film, and you had to include certain themes and props so that we knew that it was done over the course of our shortened time period. But can you talk a little about the inspiration?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, when we heard it was going to be a mockumentary, we were first like, oh no, we've never made a mockumentary before. What to do with it? But the good thing is we're actually with the same cast and crew that we made Lights Out and Away We Go. We are making another short film. And we're doing this with a group of teenagers that have all sorts of disabilities as well as writers that we have in our team. So we kind of were already in the flow with this group. And, so we just started talking about actually what bothers them the most, what's happening in their lives, what's going on, and not just about their disability, but more, as teens and as young people, and, and also maybe sometimes how does the disability, play a part in that? For example, the way people react to them or help them whenever, even if they don't need help or ask for it. So that's kind of how we got things rolling and going. And, one of the things is definitely that parents, you love your parents, but sometimes they can also be a bit smothering.
Well, I may have to bring my mom into this interview because she may be able to weigh into this as well.
Yeah.
So how did you, was disability always something that was important to you? Did you just, like, how did you put this group of people with and without disabilities together? Did it start with you knowing one person, or like somebody within your family, your friends in the disability community? Or can you talk about how you got integrated into the disability community?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a very long process actually, because I have my first cousin, he has Down syndrome. And I remember when we were children, people would treat him differently, and I never really understood why, like because he's such a happy guy and really. So I remember feeling, it really impressed me in a not in a particularly in a good way. And it happens a lot around me that people are treated differently. And also me myself, I don't have, a disability per se, but I have always felt really different and trapped inside my own body. And, I've suffered from severe depression as well. Um, and so I kind of, the feeling of, just wanting to break free from stigmas is something that I'm really passionate about. So it's not really particularly centered around, disabilities, but more, I just want to be me. And I want, as a filmmaker, it's important to me as well that, everyone has that same, chance of recognizing themselves on screen. And also having that feeling like, okay, it's okay to be me. It's okay to be different than mainstream or whatever. So that's kind of how, I started with Dive Deep, which is the short film I mentioned earlier that we're making with this group of teens as well, which was not even intentionally like meant for, to center around people with a disability. It's still not, because I don't think a film should be about someone with a disability. It should be about the person that, who is just a person who is going through the same things as everyone else. So
I agree 100%.
yeah,
And I think that's really the core of the film challenge, is the films don't have to be about disability. It's about
yeah,
inclusion. It's
yeah,
about having people with disabilities in front of or behind the camera. And I
yeah,
think through the film challenge, you're able to do whatever you want to do. You could be
yeah,
a gangster, you could be the love interest. And for
yeah,
me, as a little person that's an actor and comedian, that's what inspired me to create this opportunity for other people with disabilities
yeah,
and for people that don't have disabilities, to be able to
yeah,
create films that really, it's just about the core of the characters and the
yeah,
experience. And I think
yeah,
your film really dives into that. And just, first of all, the cinematography is just so beautiful. I mean, all the scenes with the young man in the bathtub, and he's in there. I mean,
yeah,
it's really great, and I think that it really doesn't focus on the disability.
no,
In the story, it's really more about the parents wanting him to do what they like, rather than
yeah,
talking about, we want you to do this because of your disability. It doesn't really
no,
address his disability, which I really love. and I
yeah.
think that, and I think obviously the judges really loved it too for your nomination. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Can you talk a little bit about your whole experience of creating a film for the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge? You found about our competition, you got somebody with a disability, you made a film, and
Yeah.
then boom, all of a sudden, were there exciting things that came about? How did you interact with the other filmmakers? And just talk about your experience in general.
Okay. Well, first of all, it wasn't, so far it's been an amazing experience, kind of a roller coaster ride, I must say, because normally when we make a short, it takes about a year, I think, on average. So this was kind of like a shocker. Oh, let's do it in 5 days, or sure, let's do it. But and then we also had, of course, we had the COVID-19 restrictions to deal with. So we could only shoot inside a house with, not too many crews. So a lot had to be done, on distance. And but we have a wonderful team, and this is a team we work with more often. So it was a very, very nice experience, shooting it, and then also the post production. And then obviously, what I find so amazing is that normally, you send your film into a festival, and then, maybe you have one time, you have some kind of award show or whatever. But, I really feel that the group of people now that are all the finalists that we are meeting over and over again, we kind of become really good friends. Like a lot of them I have met also online, through LinkedIn, and we had chats, and we're, thinking about, okay, how in the future can we maybe work together on a project. So, and I really noticed that I really miss that we don't have this kind of community here in the Netherlands or in Europe even. So I'm really hoping that, more European filmmakers also see this, and that we can also start building that community here as well.
And that's so important. And I think ultimately the fact that you're, I'm going to back it up because I think there was a little reverberation, but, and that's so important. And I think ultimately the fact that you're making a film and it's having success, and you're being featured in Variety, and you're getting to screen at NewFilmmakers LA and, festivals around the world. I mean, I think you're going to inspire other people to enter this competition. And I think even more importantly, just to really be thinking about including more people with disabilities in front of and behind the camera in their films. Is there a different mindset in the Netherlands in terms of disability and how people are seen, or have you spent time in the US or other places? Do you feel like it's ahead, behind, about the same? Where can you talk a little bit about that, I guess, as a...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot to compare it to because, I haven't spent a lot of time in the US, and I, so I don't really know what the situation is there. But I know here, the awareness is growing. So, but it seems to be more kind of like a trend going on right now. Inclusivity is this kind of brand name these days where you have all these token positions filled, like you have the token black guy and the token person in the wheelchair. And, usually it's then if someone is disabled, it's either they're in a wheelchair or they have a form of autism. And, usually they don't have like they don't play the lead, and they, and if they do, it's usually about their disability or overcoming it, or, it's not really about the person that's, playing this role.
Yeah.
So I do think that we are a little bit behind, the very fact that we don't have this community like, you guys have made with Easter Seals. So I do think we're a little bit behind, but there is definitely some change going on in the community here. So I also noticed that we are getting a little bit more support also for our film projects from like the Dutch Film Fund. So
That's
so there's a
amazing.
positive change going on. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, and congratulations. So, we're almost out of time. So I'm going to give you a chance to kind of give any closing remarks about your experience and being involved in New Filmmaker LA, featured in Movie Magazine. Are you going to be taking part in next year's film challenge? I'm wondering, and beyond. So, what else is coming up next? I know you talked about the other projects.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you close out here.
Yeah, well, thank you. Now, well, first of all, I said it earlier, I'm super honored to be here. Also, to represent the Netherlands a little bit in this competition. Woohoo! But no, definitely, I think we're entering again next year, if only for the experience, because that was awesome. And I think, also for New Filmmakers LA, I think it's so wonderful that you have these opportunities for, people like us who are just trying to make their way in the industry. And, like yesterday we had these Q&A where, it really does feel like a family, like we're this group of people that have found each other. We're the tribe, it feels like we are. So that is very special. So I would definitely enter again. And, I'm promoting it also to all my colleagues here in the Netherlands, like, we need to do this, So
Well, that's amazing.
yeah,
what-
and you know, yeah, sorry.
And do you anything else on the horizon?
Yeah, so we have Dive Deep coming up, which is a short film we're making with the same cast and crew about a young teen who wants to be a paraglider. So he wants to do some extreme sports. And we're also actually we have a big series in development for a big streamer, also about a young teenage girl who accidentally opens up the door to the underworld. So it's a fantasy fiction series with also a girl with a disability in the lead. So yeah.
That's amazing. And where can people find you? You and your company projects. You have a website, social media.
Yeah, you can find us on breakfreefilms.org or Google Break Free Films, and you will find us also on socials. Just hashtag #BreakFreeFilms @BreakFreeFilms.
Well, thank you so much. You're so talented, and it's just such an honor to have you part of the film challenge, have your film screen here amongst all our finalists at New Filmmaker LA, and I can't wait to continue to see what an amazing career you and the rest of the people on your team are going to have. So thanks so much, and I can't wait to see you soon in person.
Yeah, I hope so. Next year in person. Next year we'll be there.